interpretation whether you think it's the right thing to do or not as we hop back into the game.
Well, I know what is legal. That is stealing the victory. That is stealing the buff potentially because Ivan is here.
Yeah, so Yus will have to go back him up. So guys, not really affected too much by the attempted harassment from Ivan, who will be chunked out and leave the scene. In fact, even despite the attempted delay, Sakai still was the first one to clear the buff.
I'm looking at the emblems here, and there's nothing too out of the ordinary, except very interesting choices from Cram, going for heavy movement speed on this Terizla rather than overall bulkiness with choices like the Tenacity. Tells you that he is going to be joining fights. He wants to be unlocked from this lane as early as possible.
Yeah, that is something that we has seen be a pretty common occurrence for Cram, like Baxia, Glue even. He's very, very selfless. And as a team player, right, he frees himself from the lane, he picks heroes that has great wave clear, and then he just starts leaving the lane closer to the 2-minute mark. And that seems to be going to be the case as well, getting priority over Val in the top lane.
Talked about the importance of side lane prio, as well as a little bit of early pressure when you're up against SRG OG, and so far Homebois hasn't really been able to create that just yet.
And attempted execute onto MelQT, Shadow Kill, damage, not enough, good chrono dash to avoid the last tick of the Shuriken.
MelQT surviving there is very, very important. You cannot allow a Hayabusa to get a kill with his first Ogi Shadow Kill of the game. That sets up a very dangerous precedence.
Yeah, they do find Sakai, who will be chunked down low as the turtle is about to spawn. Val shows up middle lane to free up Izanami, as now they look to take priority over Turtle, but Izanami, he's not going to be level 4 just yet, but since Sakai is low, SRG OG would just give this one up. Ivan doing a great job of reconnaissance. Homebois stopping SRG OG, and now are looking for Stormy, forces Flicker out. Sakai's in a very precarious position, and Cram, with the help of Stormy, Blast takes out two. Homebois now need to retreat. Amao trying to slowly back up, but Yums comes in to force out the Purify from the side of Homebois. Izanami not really in a good spot as Cram swings the hammer. 1, 2, 3 in his face. Third death for Homebois, and number 4 up on the docket. SRG OG trace an objective for 4 kills.
That is definitely not what you want to happen in the first 3 minutes of the game. We talked about this, Homebois. Do not
a 1+1.
Very well done by the Homebois there, committing most of their resources to stop Innocent and getting a bonus kill on Yumes in exchange. I think SRGOG themselves, though, were already ready to potentially give up on Innocent in the bot lane. They had Cram Split pushing up top, and Sky's going for a push down mid side as well. Not a lot of effort to actually come down there to help, since I don't feel like it would have gotten them much benefit.
They would have been late to the party for sure. And that is a 1,000 goal swing towards Homebois. Now they have basically just flattened out whatever deficit that they suffered earlier on. SRGOG sitting in less than 1,000 goal advantage. Had the airstrike used very early. Chunked out Izanami and Vel. Homebois on the turtle. Here comes Surkais into the shadow kill. Izanami is a target, uses the Purify to get out of danger, but Cram is swinging it. The hammer, left, right, and center, trying to polarize Homebois. Turtle for SRGOG, but Yumes ends up going down. Vel tries to assassinate Innocent, finds the kill at the very end with the lethal ignition, and now it's just Cram who finds Vel in return, but there's just too many members of Homebois. Cram with the flicker to try and look for Ivan, but Ivan gets to safety, and now Cram is just another sacrificial lamb. Homebois with 3.
Man, it sure takes a long time to take him out, though. And Skies is able to get the mid-tier 1 hit. Stormy snipes Ivan after the fight is over. So despite everything, it's still somewhat even for SRGOG. I was a little worried that they spent a bit too many resources just to get a turtle, but the kill score ends up being somewhat even, and that is actually perfectly okay for them, since initially it looked like Homebois were in control.
We gotta give SRGOG credits for some forward thinking, right? They realized that the fight was over. Cram is gonna draw attention away and get as much trade done as possible. So guys took the mid-tier 1 in the process. So I agree, I think the eventual winner is still SRGOG. Gonna attempt to steal from Surkais, which ends up bearing no fruit. But for Homebois, at least, they're not behind, right? They're keeping even with the Red Giant.
I think we've seen from past experience that SRGOG is the type of team that is willing to throw bodies. They don't really care about the overall kill score of the game, because the goal is always to make it further into the base and take down the crystal. So in this case, even though they're not getting much of a net worth lead, even though they are taking more deaths than usual on their main cores, they are getting a lot of macro done. And Homebois are oftentimes going to be rotating the map together, so they're not really able to respond to that in exchange.
And because as a result of that, for the past few minutes, Surkais has finally overtaken Amao in terms of experience. Even when you look at the items, right? First item, Genius 1 for the Farsa, if the airstrike used very early on. Izanami got chunked just a little bit. Glowing on up next for Stormy. Innocent working towards his final item, the DHS, Radiant Armor for Cram. I think SRGOG are ready for the skirmishes.
Vel actually going for a fairly greedy build. Oh!
Shadow kill, Izanami. Gets a low roll this time. Saves the Crimson Beacon and the Purify.
Chunking out Izanami is also pretty good. Looking at the itemization, Vel is going for a second item BOD after the Hunter Strike, so not going for more economical builds on this Benedetta. Whereas Yumes skipped the fleeting time, went for an Antique Cuirass to play more defensively. They get the bottom tier 1, but Homebois wants this Lord.
It's about reconnaissance. Vel has a good angle to come in. They get a Petrify on the Stormy, which blows him up, and Yumes also cannot stay in the fight for any longer. A double kill for MelQT, and Cram left out to dry. Mega kill for Amao. Lord's gonna be for Homebois, but SRGOG once more on the macro sense broke the holy defense bot.
I think it's still worth it for the Homebois there. They're able to get 3 kills. They get the Lord for free. And oh, wow, Skies, you're playing with fire right there, sir. But really well played by Homebois. They dive the backline instantly. They don't really care about Yumes or Cram in the front, because they know that as long as they eliminate Stormy, they basically have no damage to worry about, since as long as they position correctly, Innocent cannot risk jumping to his SOD, and he chose not to, went for the split push instead. Despite all of that, the net worth score is still even thanks to the macro play that Innocent has been doing.
Innocent and Surkais, right? Taking, swapping roles every now and then. Holy Trinity now done for Innocent. At 10th minute mark, Lord spawning bottom side. Ivan does have the approach. So they're going to try and corral SRGOG so that Homebois can get the mid-tier 1.
MelQT also just completed his Holy Crystal. Oracle comes out from Ivan. Pretty notable item power spikes for the side of Homebois. That'll make their team fights even more efficient. I think we're at the stage of the game where the Homebois can actually afford playing 4-1. Vel can start matching up the macro, since I think even in a 4v5 situation, Homebois are strong enough.
And it's eye for an eye petrify. So guys, takes on the challenge and survives. Here comes the damage block. Electro final blow. Good iframe from Val. So Suckeyes gets nothing. Lord bottom side, 2 Homeboys looking for a potential pinch. There is the concealed play. Cram will put his body in front, eats the taunt and everything from the rest of Homeboys. Stormy getting jumped up by Izanami, but still gets all 4 pops off. Bottom tier 2 falls, and Cram also goes down.
All right. Much better for... Oh!
SOD, Innocent! Goes in from LQT and follow up from Yums! Innocent! Once more! Does it again! 4 dead for Homeboys!
The half beast, the savior of SRG OG. How does he keep doing it? The moment I was about to say that was a good engagement, a positive trade for the Homeboys. Innocent turns around and says, no, you don't. I am here. And all of a sudden, the inhibitors being cracked open.
This is some mad stuff from SRG OG. They were the ones on the back foot, and yet they were the ones that got an advantage. It was all set up by Innocent. Not just the big plays, but that macro play in the bottom lane with the absence of the Holy Shield popped earlier on. It did naturally went down either way, but it puts SRG OG back in the driver's seat.
Homeboys let down their guard, and I don't even blame them. Anyone in that position would assume that they were in a perfectly comfortable spot. They had already won the fight. They had taken out the frontliners of SRG OG. Vel was pushing up top lane. They just needed to buy a little bit more time. Then the SOD comes in on the perfect target, and MelQT is taken out first as well. This is why Innocent has gained the recognition of gold laners across the world.
From the most doubted one to the most recognized one. It is a badge of honor, and no one can take away from him for sure, right? It took him a while, a journey to the Malaysian scene to make it happen, but to keep that for 3 seasons in a row is unprecedented. Next door up on the menu, Val getting jumped up by Innocent. Suckeyes is also here too, so Val needs to find a way to get out of this. There is Izanami nearby. Suckeyes goes in, Electro final blow. Again, Val denies the shadow kill. The rest of Homeboys work on the Lord.
Very good on Vel to save his ultimate all the way until the Ogi shadow kill, but SRG OG wants to contest this.
And they have Innocent to set out the bottom wave. Crab's gonna eat everything. Penalty zone into a flicker to buy time and keep Homeboys in their place. Now the battle formation is broken a little bit.
Is bottom.
Innocent, he's gonna look for a potential endgame. MelQT, the recall cancelled, but the SOD Lord still goes over the Homeboys. But Val now needs to bail himself out of the situation. Homeboys on the run despite they're the ones getting the objective. Aimar getting brought back by the Tsunami Slam. Salmon Force lay down. MelQT saves the fight. Yums goes down.
A good save from the Homeboys. That looked really scary. SRG OG was literally attacking multi-pronged. Innocent could have split push down bottom. He chose to join the fight when he got the snipe in on MelQT, but Homeboys were able to disengage in the correct direction, and Aemon was still able to secure the Lord for them. I don't think they're gonna be able to get any structures with this one, but that was very close and a very important fight for Homeboys to win, because if SRG OG had gotten an important target in that one, the game would have been over.
Innocent getting his final item, the Malefic Gun. And it's safe to say that at least Homeboys are putting up a way closer fight than they did last time. They met Evan with the fist break engage! Takes down one, but isn't it enough though? Because Innocent is still around and we've seen him work magic. Lord goes down, SOD, Innocent, he's gonna take it again! Innocent! Belch on the top of it, but Innocent prevails! Half beast, Baba, Jaeger, Innocent!
He's insane! They are insane! How do you turn that sort of situation around? Ivan got such an incredible catch at such a good timing. I don't think SRG was prepared to respond to that, and yet, they're the ones who come out on top. This Moskov, this player, I don't even know if he's human anymore.
In the words of Vigo from John Wick Season 1, he is not the boogeyman. He is the person you sent to kill the boogeyman. Man of sure will and pure determination. He saved the game twice. Both were Lord pushes from Homeboys. Can you believe it?
I don't even know what to say. I have no words about this. Every bone in my body screams that this logically should not be possible. But by now, I guess we should be aware that Innocent breaks the laws of reality itself. If he wants a win, he's gonna take it, no matter what it takes.
In our games, that game would have ended.
Yeah, definitely.
You would have went next.
I would have FF'd a long time ago.
I would have too. But if my Moskov is innocent, maybe FFing would be on the bottom of the list. Although Homebois, they're still keeping even with SRG, and Cram is going to be the one that they jump on. Cram knows that he has to sacrifice himself to buy a bit of time. Here comes Guys and use to conceal from the side. Guys looking for a backline. Innocent free hitting everyone. The Tsunami standing by. Time LQT collected and harvested by SRG OG. And this one is the nail in the coffin for game number 1. Innocent and the rest of the team gives them a maniac. Innocent is just too damn good.
SRG OG is just too damn good. Game number 1 taken. The perfect nail in the coffin. Innocent had been turning fights around.